And this morning, it's in this building behind me that the highly anticipated, much awaited Christopher Schurr trial begins at 8:30 this morning. We're already beginning to see the first person line up here. We're live with what to expect today. Good morning, Tanner. That's right. The last time we checked in, there was one person walking up the steps for this line. Now we're seeing two people in line, as we know that the public can go inside for the Christopher Schurr trial, which starts at 8:30 this morning. That's when opening arguments get underway. Doors open at 6:30 this morning. That's why we're beginning to see people lining up so soon. But understand that this is not a large courtroom, only 44 seats available, 16 of those reserved for the Schurr and Lyoya families, with about 28 open to the public. Understand that many of the people waiting in line here will be members of the public. Members of the 13 on Your Side team should be showing up here shortly to get in line as well. Just to point out that this will be very limited access, though the courtroom is open to the public. So we don't know what will be happening outside the courtroom or the courthouse as this is all getting underway. Of course, over these last 3 years, we've seen several demonstrations on both sides, and that's very likely a possibility to be the case as this court trial plays out. So we're live outside the Kent County Courthouse in downtown Grand Rapids. Emily Scarlett, 13 on Your Side.
13 on Your Side's Emily Scarlett is live this morning outside of the Kent County Courthouse in downtown Grand Rapids, where opening arguments are now just hours away. Emily, good morning to you.
Tanner, good morning. And as you can see, we're starting to see a crowd growing here outside the Kent County Courthouse, with doors expected to open in less than 30 minutes at around 6:30 this morning. You remember about an hour ago, we only saw one or two people. Well, that crowd has certainly started to grow. We've also seen somewhat of a large police presence. Obviously, no lights or anything like that, but it's been clear seeing them circle around the Kent County Courthouse. Now, as you mentioned, opening arguments are expected to start this morning. That's at 8:30. That's what time court is expected to start every day. And this is a story that we've been following from the very beginning. It was actually a Monday morning, April 4th of 2022, that then GRPD officer Christopher Schurr stopped a car being driven by 26-year-old Patrick Lyoya. Now, we later learned that police would say that car had a license plate not registered to the car. That was the reason for the stop. Police say Lyoya disregarded commands, getting out of the car and trying to run. Many have seen what happens next over and over from the body cam footage released by police. The two get into a struggle, which ends with Lyoya shot in the back of the head and killed. Now, this investigation was turned over to Michigan State Police. Schurr's defense team filing several appeals claiming the former officer deserved immunity, but that latest effort was denied by the Michigan Supreme Court back in December. Now, there are a number of factors that make this fatal officer-involved shooting more complex. There's the issue of race and also questions surrounding excessive force by law enforcement. We expect to get a better idea of what direction each side will go in as opening arguments get underway here. Again, that starts at 8:30 this morning. We also know that the defense has about 40 different witnesses available to call, 11 for the prosecution, though that doesn't mean all of those witnesses will be called. Back to you all.
All right, Emily, thank you. Yeah, you bring up a lot of really good questions that will be asked in this case. Another question that I want to ask you about is the language barrier. Was there a language barrier between Patrick Lyoya and Christopher Schurr?
Well, it's something that we cannot answer for sure, but we do know that the Lyoya family came here from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Peter Lyoya, Patrick's father, telling 13 on Your Side that they left that Central African country looking for better opportunities and a safer life. But we don't know whether or not there was actually a language barrier, though there have been questions surrounding whether or not that could have played a role in what happened in that fatal traffic stop. We know that Patrick Lyoya's parents continue to use an interpreter to speak with members of the public and members of the media. So again, those questions are still unanswered at this time. We should know later this morning whether or not that will play a part in this case, with opening arguments again getting underway here shortly at 8:30 this morning. Live from downtown Grand Rapids outside the Kent County Courthouse, Emily Scarlett, 13 on Your Side.
All right, Emily, thank you for your reporting.
Good morning, Tanner. As you can see, it is much busier out here now, right outside the Kent County Courthouse, with doors expecting to open here shortly at 6:30 this morning, with the public welcome to go inside the courtroom where that trial will be happening of Christopher Schurr. But this is a really small courtroom, so even as you start to see a large crowd gathering out here this morning, only a select group of people will be allowed in based on who shows up here, first come, first serve. But understand there are only about 44 seats available in the courtroom, with 16 of those seats being reserved for the Schurr and Lyoya families. That leaves about 28 left for the public, and you have to account for members of the media who will be lining up here as well, hoping to get a seat. Now, I can tell you that we've already started to see some signs out here, some of those being standing with Schurr signs, several of those out here, as well as people carrying American flags. We did also get a chance to speak with one woman who says she isn't on either side of this and came out here early this morning thinking no one would be out here so early, because she said she wanted to pray for healing regardless of the outcome of this case.
Emily, good morning to you.
Good morning, Tanner. And not only that, just moments ago, doors opened to the Kent County Courthouse. So we had seen a line that had started to form outside of those doors, but just moments ago, they were able to walk outside. You can also see we've got a crowd of people gathering outside the Kent County Courthouse who I don't think have any intention of going inside. Instead, they're out here holding American flags, signs that I've read that say "Justice for Schurr" or "Stand with Schurr." So we've seen one group here clearly supporting Christopher Schurr's side. I also spoke with a woman this morning who says she's not on either side of this argument and instead came here to pray for healing of the community. So as you said, opening arguments now less than 2 hours away, expected to start at 8:30 this morning. That's what time you can expect court to start every morning that this trial is underway. Now, this is a story we've been covering from the very beginning. It was actually a Monday morning on April 4th of 2022 that then GRPD officer Christopher Schurr stopped a car being driven by 26-year-old Patrick Lyoya. We later learned police would say the reason for that stop was that the car had a license plate not registered to the car. Police say Lyoya disregarded commands, getting out of the car and trying to run. Many have now seen what happens next over and over from the body cam footage released by police. The two get into a struggle, which ends with Lyoya shot in the back of the head and killed. Now, this investigation was turned over to Michigan State Police. Schurr's defense team filing several appeals claiming the former officer deserved immunity, but that latest effort was denied by the Michigan Supreme Court back in December. There are a number of factors that make this fatal officer-involved shooting even more complex. That's race and growing questions surrounding excessive force by law enforcement. So we expect to get a better idea of the direction both sides will go in later this morning, again with opening arguments getting underway at 8:30 this morning, less than 2 hours now. We also know that the defense has about 40 witnesses available to call, some 11 for the prosecution. That doesn't mean all of those witnesses will be called. Back to you all in the studio.